Well, good morning, friends, my freedom loving brothers and sisters. It's Friday. One more day, another dollar. I haven't made a video for my Freedom Outlaw channel in quite a while, so I was just thinking about some things this morning, and I'm going to be posting some more. But I just wanted to make a quick video this morning and share a few thoughts that's on my mind. I'm coming at you from the man cave. So we're going to call this a man cave talk this morning for a few minutes. You know, I've been thinking lately about this. History tells us that the Democratic Party was formed in around 1828, something like that. Prior to that, it was a Republican Democratic Party. They were combined, from what I understand. And then about 1854, officially they say that the Republican Party was established. And so, you know, the early to late 1800s, these two parties have been fighting. I want you to think about that. Here it is, 2026, and they're at war with one another on a scale that's never been documented in history. And if you go back through history, you're going to find that the Democratic Party has always opposed freedom. They've always opposed freedom, but they love to have government overreach. They love a big government so they can control and manipulate and just do whatever they want. I think the idea of democratic liberalism, I think it came around somewhere in the 1930s with the New Deal, the president at that time, and he wanted to expand the government with social programs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's continued. But you know, if you read the preamble to the Constitution, which I might add, they pay no attention to that whatsoever. The preamble is the foundation. It sets the tone. That's what a preamble is for. It's to set the tone and lay a foundation for what's coming. And they don't care anymore. They simply don't care. We the people of the United States. United States? Yeah, right. United States. Wow, that's become a joke. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, a more perfect union, yeah, that's the joke of the century. Establish justice. Justice? There is no justice anymore. Only if they want to make an example out of someone or some group, then they claim justice. Other than that, there's no justice. There's no justice. There's no pure justice here in the United States. There's no perfect union. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Yeah, okay. You know, this is, I hate to say it, and it's tragic to say it. But when you read these words in light of what's going on in our nation today, this is, there is plenty of ammunition here for any comedian to build off of. And of course, that's what George Carlin did. He was a comedian, But if you listen to him closely, and I don't agree with everything George Carlin said, but when he talked about the government and we the people, what he was saying was true. He had tremendous insight way back then of how corrupt and evil and just vile the government is, and that we're just slaves. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Yeah, tranquility. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare. And ensure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. Yeah. There you go. Do ordain this Constitution. And you know what? My dear freedom-loving friends, they don't care. They don't care about we, the people. I know there's a few exemptions in D.C. and in state governments. There's a few exemptions, but very few anymore. The politicians are corrupt, they're narcissists, they're megalomaniacs, and all they care about is how much power, how much control, how much tyrannical control, and how rich they can make themselves. And of course we know, we've known this for decades and decades. There's a two-tier justice system. So in that case, there is no justice. I was a cop for 20 years. And I enjoyed that career. I took an oath. I maintained the integrity of that oath. I was not a corrupt cop. I couldn't be bought. And I did my job in truth and integrity. But in the context of today's world, I'm ashamed. I really wish a million times, I would have followed another desire, another vision of my heart. As a young man, I wish I would have followed that desire, that vision, to just become a mountain man. Just a nomad, a desperado, a freedom outlaw, a son of the wind and mountains. I really regret that I didn't take that path. But I got caught up in the American dream, right? The American dream, yeah. The American dream of slavery. Work, 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 work. Make the big corporations, make the politicians rich. That's the American dream, friends. That's the American nightmare. You work, 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 work all your life. And at the end, they throw you a few crumbs. Well, they have lined their pockets in every corrupt way possible. So yes, I'm ashamed. And don't get me wrong, I know there's some good cops out there. I know cops that I would trust my newborn baby with. But as far as the system, and I'm not anti-cop, I don't believe in defunding the police, but as far as the system that's evolving now, it's evil, it's corrupt, it's anti-American. Just like I'm not anti-government, but the government in existence now, that system is evil and corrupt, it's tyrannical, it's treasonous. There's a bunch of traitors in D.C. I mean, read history. Look what our founding fathers did at the Tea Party. What would they do today? They do a lot more than what we're doing, but we can't unite anybody anymore. The evil politics has spewed out so much propaganda. It's divided people. It's separated people. It's caused hatred. You know what? Let me just share this with you. You know what it takes to be a politician? Here's what it takes to be a politician. First of all, you've got to master the vile art of lying. And then you've got to master the justification for those lies. In other words, what I mean is they'll tell a lie, and they know they're telling a lie. And then when somebody challenges them on that lie, well, I was just going off of the information I had at that time. See, that's the art of justification. Lying and then justifying. And they're both evil. They're both corrupt. Yeah, I was just going off of the information I had at that time, or I don't remember saying that. Yeah, but right here, we have it documented. Right here, this is what you said. Well, I don't remember saying that, but if I did, this is what I actually meant. Well, I've heard that all my life. Well, this is what I actually meant. Well, then why don't you just say what you meant? Why don't you just go ahead and be straightforward and say what you meant? Well, they can't do that because politicians, for the most part, are liars. And then another characteristic of being a politician, you got to know how to steal and then cover it up. You got to become a master thief so you can manipulate we the people's tax dollars in the direction that you want it to go. It doesn't matter if it even violates your oath of office. Let's just do it. What's the people going to do, right? Another characteristic of political science, and that's a joke. They call it political science. Oh, okay. All right. I want you to think about that one for a little bit. Political science. Another characteristic is you can't have a conscience. They call it thick skin, but these people have no conscience of good, evil, right, wrong, truth, a lie. They have no conscience. There's no separating point. They just do what is necessary to propagate, to further their evil, tyrannical agendas. And as I said, they're megalomaniacs, narcissists, sociopaths, in many ways, psychopaths. And they hold public office. Yeah, they hold public office. And people put them in there. We the people have the ultimate power, but we don't use it. If all the people, or at least half, the 3/4 of the population of the United States would pull the plug and say, you know what? We're not paying no more money. We're not doing another thing until people are brought to justice, true justice, and prosecuted and hung for treason. And imprisoned for lying and corruption. If we would just pull the plug, this thing would be brought down before the week's over. But they've lulled the people to sleep. We, the people, are too afraid to lose our convenience, our materialism, as opposed to our founding fathers who sacrificed everything, materialism and their own lives, and shed their own blood for freedom, for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, for those unalienable, what is that word? Unalienable or inalienable, however you want to say it. Inalienable rights endowed by our Creator, not by the government. It doesn't say inalienable rights endowed by the government, endowed by politicians, endowed by a political party, endowed by the Supreme Court. That is not what it says. It's very clear. It says what it means and means what it says. Inalienable rights endowed by our Creator, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the greater percentage of corrupt politicians in Washington, D.C. do not care about those words. So there you have it. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll get back to you later. Until then, God bless and protect, defend your life in liberty and pursuit of happiness. Do not sell your freedom for a few crumbs from the government.